Hey, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? That's why I set up the website, colinmullen.com. Hey everybody, so before we get into the subject for today, I just wanted to talk about this. I've been doing this thing where I make a board game. The board game is intentionally arcane and not very fun, and then I've been forcing streamers to play it, and I got some random images from the internet in order to, take the spot of places and stuff, and I'm like, you know what, I'm an artist, I can fix that. I want to make sure that, at least a majority of these are, good and something I made. So the first one I'm doing here is the Riddle Goblin. He gives you stupid riddles that waste a whole bunch of your time, and you're not allowed to take a turn until you solve his puzzle. And then there's a couple other ones. Doesn't really matter, but the point is that that's what this is for anyone who's wondering. Anyway, so what I want to talk about today is this 53-story skyscraper in LA that is currently being monitored by the police because there are graffiti artists climbing into it and tagging it. Now, it should be said that this specific building was left unfinished in 2019. My source for this, by the way, is NBC. I'll try and remember to add a link to this. If I don't, just yell at me and I'll try and remember to actually post it. Apologies, I sometimes forget to do things, but that's my source anyway. According to this, and this post was made on the 2nd, there have been about 30 floors that have been tagged, and the tagging, I will say, is not my favorite style of tagging, but that doesn't really matter. What we have is a building that was essentially half finished and left to rot, and they can't really figure out what they're going to do with it. And so graffiti artists are doing what they do, is they're coming in and tagging it. And, even people are apparently coming out of state, according to one random person they interviewed. And by and large, this is seen as a bad thing. Now, I've already talked about my opinion on graffiti. I think that, graffiti is great because it's a way of, expressing yourself, and it's a way of saying, hey, this is my art. And honestly, I think it's better art than a lot of the stuff that's in galleries because it's visible to everyone. Everyone can see it. It's art that everyone can experience. A lot of people don't have time or, energy to go to a gallery, but you can see beautiful pictures made by people in, on your daily commute, on the street, on signs, on whatever. I think that is so much more valuable than just an empty, vacant building. I'm not entirely sure who's being harmed by this or why this is a problem, but I want to talk about a little bit of American law, most often known as squatters' rights. And one of the tenets of this is the idea being that if your neighbor doesn't mow a part of their lawn and you start mowing it, and you do that for several years openly, then you can claim that part of their yard is yours because you've been taking care of it. And, the improvement of it is incredibly important for it to be seen as a adversarial possession. That's the legal name of squatters' rights. I would say that these guys are essentially doing that. We have a group of people who are going in and improving the side of a building. They are changing it. You may not see it as improving, but they are putting work into the building to, give it some more love than it was getting, because it's essentially an abandoned building that's just sitting there. 53 something stories of nothing, taking up the skyline and not being used. I don't see why it can't be a canvas, and this is not a super long take, but I legitimately do not know why anyone would care about this. But LAPD is getting to the point where people are just getting in and being able to tag it so often that they are just putting out helicopters to just watch it all day and all night, which is a tremendous waste of time and energy in my book. I would expect, I don't live in LA, but I would expect that there are bigger issues to tackle in LA than whether or not people are graffitiing a building, I believe that homelessness is at a incredibly high point in the LA area, and that could have very easily just been turned into maybe housing for the homeless. If you don't know what you're going to do with it and you're not going to use it for anything, I don't see why there should be any issue with someone coming along, putting some improvement into it, putting some effort into it, which you were unable or unwilling to do so. They put a lot of work into building this building and then just left it there. To me, that's a blank canvas, and that is an empty building that I feel like that people could very easily take and use for their own purposes. This is not legal advice. I do not recommend doing that because you probably will get arrested and it will be considered trespassing. But I think that there are better things that the LAPD could be doing with their time than messing around with whether or not there are graffiti artists putting stuff on buildings. The dedication, the time, and the energy that it takes to go and get good at doing graffiti, spend your time to climb up to the, whatever floor you're going to tag and then tag it, I feel like is worthy of note. Some people may call it vandalism. I call it improvement. And that is my take on this. Anyway, I want to thank the people on patreon.com/RevScarecrow. If you are a patron on there and you are donating at least $5 a month, I will say your name in the credits and you get access to the Discord. If you're a sub on Twitch, it's the same Discord, just so you know. And that's what these wonderful people did, starting with my mom and dad. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Wapfu. Thank you, Tofoundor. Thank you, Skelegorgi. Thank you, Reverend Joe. Thank you, Retrograde. Thank you, Mortis. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Josepher. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Gabriel Bennett. Thank you, Freak Wannabe. Thank you, Egg. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, Cloudburst Sapphire. Thank you, Chiptune Glitch. Thank you, Bunglepaws. Thank you, Bep. Thank you, Amber. And thank you, Ants! I also want to say a quick thank you to, there's been a couple people who have messaged me privately via emails or on Tumblr or whatever that have just said, hey, thank you for making these videos, and it really made my day to read those. So thank you guys for being so supportive and loving. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Get out there and do some art. And that is, legal, because I'd never tell you to do anything illegal, of course. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.